Log, and it's now time for the Morning Watch.
Listeners to Love 101 FM are advised that the views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of Love 101 FM.
Hello and welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. A special welcome to our listeners on love101.org. And if you're overseas and on the move, US listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you're in the UK, 0330-332-6541. Or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also join us on Love 101 FM Facebook and YouTube Live. In the first watch today, beware of another hack attack. And in the second watch, evaluating reports that more Jamaican fathers are now listed on birth certificates. For our social media question, we ask, why is it important for the real father's name to be on a birth certificate? Please share your responses on our Love 101 FM Facebook page and YouTube channel, and also on WhatsApp 876-997-3125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll share your responses later on in the program, but before all of that, here's I quote.
Don't hurry, don't worry. You're only here for a short visit, so be sure to stop and smell the flowers. Walter Hagen.
Beautiful quotation there. Good morning, Roshane.
Good morning, Dr. Toussaint. How are you doing this morning?
I am doing well. How are you, my brother?
Well, I'm trying to, get a hang of things in studio. Day by day, it's getting better.
Great. Well, the quote says, don't hurry, don't worry.
Don't hurry. I like that. Don't hurry, don't worry.
Don't worry. By the way, did you see the clip yesterday with the driver, the taxi driver?
Yeah, I saw it. Because of social media now. Everything is right there. Because I actually saw it, even though I went to my bed early last night, but I did see it last night.
Crazy stuff, ain't it?
Yeah.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It's like seeing the movie, like we're watching movies nowadays.
I tell you. The first watch will be after this break.
All right. This is Love 101.
Sometimes the things that tear us apart are the ones that unite us and bring us closer together. Sometimes the darkest of night turns into a day so bright, leaving the scars and the pain, everything that we fear behind us. Where there is life, let's keep on dreaming. Where there is love, let's find unity. Where there is hope, keep on believing. Keep holding on. So never give up through wind and storm. 'Cause after the rain, there'll be a calm. Sunshine of a new day, it won't be long. Keep holding on.
A message from Sajiko.
Who's ready to answer the Go Loud Cash Call? Here's your chance to be one of 4 winners of 50,000 weekly. Just answer the Go Loud Cash Call with the phrase
Simple More Radio and Podcast.
and the money is yours. Tune into the live shows on Love 101 FM, Tuesday, February 1 and Friday, February 4, 2022 to find out how you can win the cash. Who knows? It could be your lucky number. Must be using the Go Loud app and the Digicel customer to qualify. Go Loud, Simply More Radio and Podcast. Text 402 to 137 for more information. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
You made my day.
This Friday, February 4, is World Cancer Day under the theme Closing the Cancer Care Gap. Listen from 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. and be sure to call in and make your appointment. We will have all the updates and information, reminders, and a few giveaways for mammograms and pap smears for those who are truly in need. Our broadcast is sponsored by Jamaica Cancer Society to eliminate cancer as a major health problem in Jamaica. Guardian Life, live secure, live easy. Quality Swim Academy, where there is passion in every stroke, swim lessons, and swim items and accessories. That's World Cancer Day. We pause, we focus, and we remind ourselves that we can beat this. Our broadcast will be this Friday, February 4, 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. on the family station, Love 101.
You made my day.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Now, last week, a Gleaner headline stated, hackers hold NCU to ransom. Now, hacking may be defined as an attempt to exploit a computer system or private network inside a computer. And globally, 30,000 websites are hacked daily, and 64% of companies worldwide have reportedly experienced at least one form of a cyber attack. In this, the first watch, we are therefore asking or saying, beware of another hack attack. And in so doing, we have online so far Mr. Christopher Record, CEO of T-Tech Limited. And we're hoped to be joined as well by Mr. Craig Powell, CEO of Adtelligent. Good morning to you, Mr. Record. All the best for 2022. Is Mr. Record on? Mr. Powell? Not hearing either persons. I am not hearing anybody. Help me out, please, Rasheen.
I believe he's there now. Is he there now?
Yes, good morning. Good morning, Dr. Toussaint. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you. How are you doing,
Okay, fantastic.
Chris?
I'm
right,
good.
good.
I'm good.
Good to have you with us. We are also hoping to be joined by Mr. Paul.
Yes.
They're not making contact with him directly, but we hope that he'll join us soon. All right, all the best for 2022, Mr. Record.
Thank you very much. Same to you.
Great. All right, what is your understanding of the hacking of the NCU files? And how could that have happened?
When something like this happens, and based upon, I'm just going based upon what I've read in the media just like you. I have no background information to anything. So I'm going to speak generally to when incidents like this happen. So you use the term hacking, and hacking sometimes indicate that there's an explicit attack. Someone sitting down in a room somewhere looking at NCU and say, I'm going after this university. Now that happens sometimes. But what I think is happening here, or has happened here over and over, hundreds of thousands of times globally, is that there's a suite of bad actors, and they have decided that they're going to make an attempt to just, let me use the term, spray and pray. In other words, somebody else, you know the term rifle versus a shotgun. They're going to take out a shotgun, and they're going to just put out some ransomware out there and just say who clicks on it, and whoever click on it, their system is already automatically set up to download malware, malicious software on your computer, and then hold it ransom. In other words, what it does, it encrypts all your software, it puts it in a form that you can't have access to it again until you pay them money, which is why it's called ransomware, right? So what's happening here is that sadly, someone in decent authority would have access to files, clicked on the wrong button. And I'm sure, Dr. Hassan, that you have gotten emails from a relative in Africa who has inherited
Oh yeah.
millions of dollars, and they would like for you to assist them by doing a click here to enter something, right? But having gotten
Yeah.
so many of those things, you just delete that email immediately. Now,
Right.
what is happening is that the bad actors are getting way more savvy in how they communicate with you. So what may even happen in a situation like this, and I said, don't know nothing so specific about the case apart from what I read in the cleanup.
Right.
So I mean, in this scenario, I mean, I'm just guessing that someone clicked on a bad link. Another scenario that happens is that, all right, you're in the media, and plus you have other activities that you're involved in. Sometimes people
Right.
forward emails to you, all right? Sometimes you forward emails to people, and there's lots of email addresses on that. You have a situation sometimes where
Yeah.
this is where we're getting smart now, where somebody will get a bunch of email addresses and say, all right, these guys, someone sees an email, somebody gets a copy of it, a bad actor, you're looking at all these email addresses and they say, let me spoof, let me pretend to be Dr. Dylan Toussaint, and let me send something to someone, say, hey, and the message is written in such a way that they're tricking somebody else to believe that they are you. And then because there's trust, and that person say, yes, man, I always get things from Dr. Toussaint. Let me click on it. So that's when it gets very, very, very tricky as to how do I trust this person. For me, when I get something from, let's say I get something from you later today with, the message look funny. The first thing I do is calling you, or sending you a WhatsApp or sending you a text. Hey, you send me this thing? Is this legit? Yes. Last week I got an email from someone and luckily, Gmail, because I have about 6 or 7 different email addresses that I use for different things. Gmail said, hey, warning, you have never gotten an email from this person from this email address. So instantly, I sent them a message on a different channel, and I took a picture of the screen. I said, just got this from you. Is this legit? And they said, yes, that's me. I said, okay, cool, thank you. And then I continued the conversation. So let me tell you something. We just have to become way more vigilant because guess what? Since COVID, ransomware attacks and these type of attacks have gone up exponentially.
So the ransomware, where did it originate as far as you know? I don't hear much about it apart from these cases.
So ransomware, all right. Let's just get, again, generally hypothetically. So use the term earlier when I started the program talking about hacking. And yes, there are nefarious bad actors out there that actually sit down and try to hack into specific accounts.
Right.
Let's say, a bank, or let's say, yeah. So that happens. Now, at some point in time, someone realized that, hold on there, it is a lot easier for me to prevent you from getting the data that you want instead of me trying to hack into your computer. So somebody got smart and realized that, but hold on there. If I send out an email with a link and convince this person to click on it, I have the ability, remember, the base thing I should have said earlier is that everyone is doing this thing for profit, for money, right? And how am I going to make more money? So I may hack into your account and may get some bank credentials. How am I going to get that from? Because the bank have way more security than you. So if I try to get that, it's going to be hard. What's the easiest thing for me to do? You have information that you need, that you use on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. If I prevent you from getting to your own information, you may pay for it. So all of a sudden, the whole concept and idea of ransomware, because remember, we watch TV and we see all of these things. We've heard of ransoms, going on a while. So how do I digitize that? So somebody got creative and take the concept of ransom and put it in software, and also do have ransomware. So it's something that's been there for several, many years. I mean, ever since this whole idea of cybercrime has been around, ransomware is one of those things that that came about as a result of it.
Yeah. Wow. All right. We're up on the break, Mr. Record. While the break is going on, could you think about this question in regards to the initial signs and signals that one's data has been or is being hacked. All right. What are
Okay.
some of the signs? All right.
Okay.
Listeners, we'll be right back.
Me need some information about my NWC bill now.
Want to know how much water you used?
Yes, I want to know my usage up to at least 6 months.
Just log on to the NWC's customer web access portal at nwcjamaica.com and you can get account information up to 13 months. You can also get your payment history.
So I can access the IPA section for pay my bill too?
Yes, it's convenient. Click and connect with the NWC customer web access portal. Try it now.
Is there a secret to a man loving his wife? How should a man love his wife? And who said he should love his wife that way? It's the month of love, and we're ensuring you fall in love all over again with The Mailbox, the program designed for men, hosted by men, with guests who are men. So tune in this Wednesday, February 2 at 5:30 p.m. with hosts Courtney Morrison and Kevin Bailey as they explore the topic, when a man loves a woman like how God meant it, biblically speaking, with guests Dr. Michael Coombs, founder and the chairman at the National Association of the Family, and Reverend Darren Francis from the USA, marriage counselor and content creator at Not Easily Broken. That's The Mailbox this Wednesday, February 2 at 5:30 p.m. with Courtney Morrison and Kevin Bailey, with guests Dr. Michael Coombs and Reverend Darren Francis, right here on the family station, Love 101.
You know you're me here. You don't know what me do.
Love 101 is 29 years and counting. Happy anniversary, Love 101.
Awesome.
It's mad.
So many gifts here, I'm telling you right now.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint, and in this, the first watch, we are actually saying out loud, beware of another hack attack. And we're using as our springboard this morning the reported incident where at NCU, hackers, according to the Gleaner, have held NCU to ransom, according to the Gleaner. And we have online Mr. Christopher Record, CEO of T-Tech Limited. Still with us, Mr. Record? Great.
Still here.
All right. Yeah. So before the break, I had sort of prepped you for the question in regards to the signs, initial signs, and signals that one's data has been or is being hacked.
All right. So when a ransomware like what is reported to have happened there happens, there's no signs or signal. It's almost instantaneous, right? So the person, clicks on the wrong link. The malware is being loaded on the computer. Once the malware is loaded on the computer, in this case, it appears, and the malware starts going about its business to start to encrypt the data files and does what it does. Because different ransomware, different malware, doing different things. Then once it has completed that job, then instantaneously it puts up a message on the user's machine or all the users that are affected. Some message. The message may say, as blatant as "sorry, you're hacked," or you may get a red screen that's saying a red screen that says, we have your files. They are encrypted. We mean you no harm. Some fool message that will then indicate to you that, hey, you need to pay some money. So that is one scenario. Another scenario that happens very regularly, and Dr. Toussaint, one of the things you need to realize is that there's a great deal of pride and ego and embarrassment that happens when these things happen. So the information is not shared regularly.
Right.
The legal and realtors, let me keep it as general as that. Legal and realtors experience this situation over and over and over again. So I'm going to give you a scenario, and there's a real scenario that an attorney shared with me. The attorney is working with a client to sell a house, right?
Yes.
the transaction is completed and the funds are to be transferred, right? Instructions are given, bank account numbers and all that stuff are given. And then at the last moment, right? So you have sold your house, you're waiting to collect your money. You have given the lawyers the bank account number, and then at the last minute, the lawyer gets an email that appears that it's coming from you to say, "Oh, the bank has informed me that they're having challenges with that account. Please use this other account instead." Right?
Wow.
The email appears it's coming from you.
Right.
So what happens? The lawyer looks and says, and the lawyer looks at it and says, "Oh, all right," and just transfers your $50 million for your house to somebody else.
Wow.
That has happened not 5 times, not 10 times. That has happened many, many times here in this country.
As easy as that.
As easy as that. And nobody wants to talk about it. It's a great embarrassment. So in that scenario, the warning sign there is at the last minute. I mean, recently, I saw an email from one of my own business that I transact, and same exact, "Hey, we're updating our account. Please pay in this account instead." I mean, I go to my accountant and I said, "You saw that email?" I said, "Yes." I said, "Have you validated it?" She looked at me like, "Come on, Chris, we do cybersecurity training here all the time." Of course, I called the people and I spoke to them, and it's legit, So the important thing here is that anybody asking you at the last minute to change any wiring, banking information, any transaction details like that, call them and talk to them, right? Verify that what you're getting via this communication is real and is true. So that's another hint. I mean, Dr. Toussaint, the industry has gone professional. So what do I mean by that? Rogue actors can now outsource their nefarious activity to companies who are doing this for a living. In other words, you can go online and you can buy hacking services for a fee. So if I decide I want to wage war in Love 101 FM, I can go to a company online and I said, I would like to launch a ransomware attack or launch some sort of a attack on this company. You pay them money and they're going to do it for you. That's how the thing's set now. It has gotten crazy.
What?
But just think about it, Dr. Toussaint. Any type of criminal activity that you know physically, on the digital side, it turn up plenty. You understand? So we're, in the media recently where we're hearing about contract killing and some, this is a shooter, that is that, who, is the same exact thing digitally or worse. Because the difference is now, this person doing the bad deed may not be in your jurisdiction. They don't fall under your laws. They're in some other country on the opposite side of the world. How are you gonna treat with that legally if you even get somebody to trace the IP address and figure out where it is? That person sitting pretty in their basement laughing at you because they have gotten what they need already. Their customer pay them good. So
is there anti-ransomware software out there?
Yes. So great question. And this is the kind of work that myself and many other IT providers out there do. We come into organizations, take an assessment of what is there, take a look at the equipment that's there, and then make recommendations as to what to do. So yes, there's anti-malware software. There is a whole host of things that should happen. So around anti-malware software, one of the things that also is massively important, you're using a computer right now, and that computer has an operating system on it. Is it the latest version? Have you done your security patch updates? So that's one of the things that many of us don't do. So in order for you to be connected to me right now, your computer has to be connected to a network. That network is connected to the internet. That internet is now connected to a central switch, which is then connected to me. And I go through the same process in reverse. I try my very best. Up to yesterday, I did my updates on my machine. So I have been patched up to the latest version of the software. And that's one of the things we have to help our customers with, because some customers, they don't have the technical skill and ability to actually do that. So you go through under the patching of your switches and your routers and your computers. There's also, as you talk about the installation of software, which is protection software. and of course using certain techniques. For example, two-factor authentication. Two-factor authentication. So right now you may have an email address that you use to check your bank accounts and all of that. Now, when you go to the bank account and you type in your email address and type in your password, you get in. Now, let's say some bad actor gets that email address somehow. They figure it out, stand up over your shoulder, they block one of your emails and found it. There's now this thing called two-factor authentication that's been around for many years that we have all our customers implement in their organization. So apart from just the password alone, there's another way that the system validates that you are you. So you put in a name, you put in a password, then it sends you a link to either a known number or a known email. Son is coming in. Yeah, another known.
It's okay, Mr. Rickard.
Okay. Yeah. So another known something that you put in that only you alone know. So whether it's, as I say, it's on your phone, it's on your tablet. So you have to do a double or what they call multi-factor verification that you are you. And so that's things simple like that. We tell people turn on two-factor or multi-factor authentication on all your financial systems. And of course, another recommendation that I make, simple recommendation, do not use the same email and password for every single solitary thing, right? So for your banking activities, use something specifically for anything that you're doing with financing and make sure 2FA or MFA is turned on. Why? Let's say you're using your Gmail account to go into your banking accounts. And then you get something from your Hotmail saying that, hey, something wrong with your bank, click here. You sit and smile because you said, that's not the email I have associated to my bank. I have a different one. So you can try a thing, delete that email and move on. You understand? So things like that. There are many simple little things, but the most powerful thing.
So use different email addresses for your different
for your critical whether it's transaction, right?
So memory, Mr. Rickard, to remember all of these things will be a challenge for some people.
Yes.
Especially when you reach certain ages.
Yes, tell me about it. Yes, which is why we have to be doing this over and over and over again. And then the chance I get me and any of my colleagues in the industry to talk about cybersecurity awareness, cybersecurity protection, we take it because we just have to keep reminding people that this thing is real. Because one of the challenges with small business and individuals, I said, it's not happening to me. I don't have nothing that anybody needs. And that's not the case, right? You need your information. I can hold your information ransom to you. So yes, it's
but if even the updates, Mr. Rickard, I sometimes wonder about the updates that will be coming from, is it Microsoft, whatever, search. I don't know. How do we know that that's legit? That's genuinely coming from the source? Because couldn't that update be also a trick, a way of getting into our system?
That is possible. You are correct. However, if your system, so you're running a Microsoft operating system on your machine, and on the machine, the message comes from the computer itself to say that this is an update. Again, one of the things that I do, I go to the Microsoft site, I check, is this a legitimate update, right? And then sometimes I go to the website itself that I trust because it's one that I've always gone to for years, and then I take the update from there instead of me clicking on a link on my machine. Right. So, for example, again, financial institution, they're doing an update to ATM, whatever it is, whatever they're doing, they're doing something. I go to the trusted site that I know, and I check, is this really and truly happening? Or guess what? Go back to old basics. Call them. Tell me something. Are you guys doing any sort of upgrades? Because I got this message on my machine, right? But I mean, with a Microsoft, you go to the website. With any other software that you use, then you go to the website, and there's usually a security section that informs you about what's going on. So yes, you can double check it. Any single solitary thing, once it's legit, you can double check it.
Well, interesting stuff, Mr. Rickard.
It is very interesting. We have done seminars, we have done all-day sessions on this.
The seminars on it.
Security is massive. But the biggest thing out there is awareness training. There are free sites out there for awareness training. We offer cybersecurity awareness training to people because that's one of the biggest authorities. Let people know what this thing looks like. We go through a complete exercise with companies where we help them realize this is what's happening in your organization right now. Your people don't fully understand cybersecurity threats. Here's what a threat looks like. here's what to do when it happens. So we'll go through that training over and over and over again with our customers.
Great stuff, great stuff. We could go on and on, but we are totally out of time. I want to thank you, Mr. Christopher Record, for joining us again and for being so insightful, so informative. Thanks.
Thanks for having me.
Listeners, the Morning Watch will return in just a moment.
Now with no processing fees and no down payment, it's time to open the door to your own sweet home. The time by JN Bank is
7:31 right here on Love 101.
Do what? Nobody light it.
What your man say? Do what? No light what?
Nobody light it. You know, sister, we in a dry season. Plus breeze a blow. You are set we up for disaster.
Disaster? What kind of disaster?
Bushfire, Joe. Bushfire. If that the fire they catch and spread, we can lose everything. House, land, car, gone. See a carelessness. Nobody light it.
You know what, true? I feel with duty for protect life and property.
Yes. Me glad you respect the warning.
This message was brought to you by Jamaicans Against Bushfires. JAB. Plan. Protect. Prevent.
From generation to generation, Jamaicans have depended on JN Bank to make the pride and joy of providing a safe place for their families possible. Now, with no processing fees and no down payment mortgage options, you can open the door to your own sweet home, a legacy to hand to your next generation. Visit jnbank.com to get pre-approved today. JN Bank will help you find a way.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's look at our newspapers to see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing. In the Gleaner, 2.6 million bus shed. 2.6 million bus shed causes all kinds of concerns we are seeing here. And also, there is a report we are seeing in regards to the chase that took place yesterday and all that transpired. You know, we were talking about that earlier, and it's amazing what we saw in regards to the bus driver doing his thing. But anyway, also, we are seeing that there are more reports coming out in regards to oh boy, I'm having some difficulties with my technology here, as was said a while ago. All right, well, I have to leave it for this morning. Coming up next, we'll read some of the feedback from our Facebook social media question. Why is it important for the real father's name to be on a birth certificate? Please leave a comment on our Facebook page and YouTube channel, Love 101 FM Jamaica, or WhatsApp 876-997-3125. Soon come back.
Fellowship Fridays with Shavani Blair is a big deal. It's a really, really big deal.
Have you caught the excitement? Been a part of the engaging discussion? Or laugh till your belly pop? It's a whole mood, good food. You're sure to walk away filled.
It's Fellowship Fridays with Shavani Blair, 5 p.m. to 11 p.m.
And youths, we may just link up virtually or in person for your youth fellowship.
The pulsating, dance-keeping, worship-filled music is a buzz.
Youth Zoom is a must as we highlight talented and high-striving youths. And don't miss
Come Back We Draw Long Bench.
Woo-hoo! It's a great way to unwind after a long weekend.
Just listen or call in and participate. Either way, you are sure to be enlightened.
Fellowship Fridays with Shavani Blair.
Every Friday from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m.
It's all on the family station.
Love 101.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's join Roshane for a look at how our Facebook, YouTube, and WhatsApp friends answer today's question.
All right.
Why
So,
is it important for the real father's name to be on a birth certificate? Roshane.
Well, I like the word real because, there has been some exceptions in the past. But this person here, Cherry from Spanish Town, is saying reason his name should be there because he is the father. Fill it for filing purposes, medical purposes, and illness. Very important, you put the right father's name on the birth certificate. So that's what Cherry over there in Spanish Town is saying. Over to you, Doctor.
Right. Thank you very much, Cherry, for the response. We agreed you in so many ways. Well, listeners, as we segue into the second watch, in a recent newspaper article, the RGD reportedly stated that roughly 4 in every 5 Jamaicans now have their fathers' names recorded on their birth certificates. Now, what is behind this report? How significant is it, and what does it mean for the well-being of our nation, and what more needs to be done? Well, to help answer these and other related questions, we have joining us Deacon Ronnie Threates, attorney at law and former MP, and Mr. Charlton McFarlane, CEO of the RGD. Good morning to you both, and best wishes for 2022.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for having me on your program this morning. Morning, Deacon Thwaites as well.
Morning, sir.
Good. Great to have you both with us. I begin with you, Mr. McFarlane, CEO of RGD. How is it that the RGD has managed to achieve such a feat? 78% of birth certificates now have the father's name listed on them. How did you manage to achieve that?
Yes, thank you. Let me just add a bit of clarity, though, to your statement. We never said that 4 in 5 Jamaicans now have their father's name on their birth certificates. What we said was that in recent times, we have seen an improvement in the number of fathers coming forward to add their names on their children's birth certificate.
So the newspaper report was inaccurate in that regard.
Well, I can understand them confusing the issue a little bit, and so I just want to add some clarity. So what we have seen is that in the last 3 years, right, our numbers have shown that for every child that is registered, 4 in 5 of those registrations now have the father's name on their birth certificates. And this is coming from the numbers I checked in about 1970-72, where it was about 50% of fathers having their names on the birth certificates. Now, to your substantive question about how did we manage to accomplish this, I credit some of it to the fact that in 2007, we launched our Bedside Registration, right, where we have our officers placed in the hospitals at the birth side. And so we are able to collect the information and to speak with the fathers as they come to visit the mothers before they are discharged, right? Because prior to that, we would wait until perhaps the 6-week clinic or so to effect the registration. But when we are doing the registration at the bedside, it gives an added advantage of us being able to have access to the fathers as they come to visit. And at that point, we ask them, to add their names to the registration document.
Interesting. Going to come back to that. Deacon Thwaites, still with us? Yes, for the record, what does the law of the land state or don't state in regards to the inclusion of the father's name on the birth certificate of the child or children?
What it does not say is to make it mandatory that the natural father's name be placed on the birth certificate. And that has a long racist history.
Racist?
Of course.
Racist? How comes?
Sure. During slavery, it didn't matter who your father was. the law refers in the Latin phrase to the child of unmarried parents as filius nullius, the child of nobody. Can you imagine that? Yes, and the churches, unfortunately, the Christian churches, the Baptists were an early exception. I can't claim the same for others.
The Baptists, yes, the Baptists.
Condoned and insisted upon this distinction between the legitimate and the illegitimate child for so long, and they were that prejudice was reinforced by a social structure, which in fact concerned only that the child be not a charge on the state, rather than concentrating upon the intense divine relationship between a child and his natural parent.
And you're continue, Deacon.
Well, what I wanted to do was to ask the Registrar General's support, because certainly for the 25 years that I was in Parliament, I tried unsuccessfully on, I think it was about 9 different occasions, to have the law amended so that it be mandatory that a father's name be placed on a birth certificate, and I failed.
Yes. We're going to come back to that a little bit, because I know certainly you have been strident in that regard. You are on record for doing that. Mr. McFarlane, you had mentioned earlier about the bedside registration. And in my reading, there was also mention of the retroactive addition of the father's particulars to the birth certificate. I want you to just say more on that. Drill down for me how the bedside thing works, because if a man is there, and I'm saying man intentionally, and he say he's the father, what happens there? Is there any verification that is done at that point? And also the retroactive thing, how is that verified?
Okay, so thank you again. Let me start with the bedside registration. The primary intent of bedside registration was to move Jamaica towards universal registration of births, right? Which is a fundamental target if we are to have, proper social inclusion, right? And if we are to be able to account for our population in a meaningful way. Right. The attendant increase in the number of fathers coming forward is really a byproduct, a positive byproduct of it. Now, let's be very clear. Perhaps the only way to verify without a shadow of a doubt that a man is indeed the father of a child is through the use of DNA evidence, right? The RGD certainly does not have that, and as Deacon Thwaite said, it's not even in our laws to mandate the addition of the father's information. So at the bedside, before we go ahead and add a gentleman's name to the certificate, the mother has to indicate to us that yes, this gentleman, as far as she's aware, is indeed the father of that child. So we don't just arbitrarily add any male figure who visits at the bedside. We add a male figure who, one, acknowledges that he believes he is the father, and that acknowledgement is supported by the mother saying, yes, I also believe that this gentleman is the father. In terms of the retroactive addition of father's particulars, this is a product we have had for several years now, even decades. And the primary intent of that was to satisfy a demand that we saw, because as we saw applications coming in for persons who are filing for their children, persons who live overseas and are now filing for their children locally, the embassies require that you show evidence, documentary evidence that you are indeed the father of the child that you are filing for. And so out of that demand, right, came a derived demand, so to speak, for the inclusion of the father's name on the certificates. There are other pull factors as well to include the settlement of estate, right? Many times, if a father has some amount of means or stuff, he would not necessarily want to leave this world and not properly account for his children or his heirs, right?
Well,
So
as you mentioned, leaving Mr. McFarlane, we're up on a break.
no
Hold that
problem.
thought. We'll be right back.
Is there a secret to a man loving his wife? How should a man love his wife? And who said he should love his wife that way? It's the month of love, and we're ensuring you fall in love all over again with the Mailbox, the program designed for men, hosted by men, with guests who are men. So tune in this Wednesday, February 2 at 5:30 p.m. with hosts Courtney Morrison and Kevin Bailey as they explore the topic, when a man loves a woman like how God meant it, biblically speaking, with guests Dr. Michael Coombs, founder and the chairman at the National Association of the Family, and Reverend Darren Francis from the USA, marriage counselor and content creator at Not Easily Broken. That's the Mailbox this Wednesday, February 2 at 5:30 p.m. with Courtney Morrison and Kevin Bailey, with guests Dr. Michael Coombs and Reverend Darren Francis, right here on the family station, Love 101.
Sagitore advantage, bank with ease, as you please, like a breeze, pay no fees, rain or shine, save your time, it's so fine when you bank online.
There's a savings account that meets your need for speed and ease. Sagicor Bank e-Advantage. Bank electronically. No monthly fees. Unlimited. Free. Sagicor Bank ABM withdrawals. Interest on your money.
Bank with ease, as you please, like a breeze, pay no fees.
Open your account today. Sagicor Bank in your corner.
Digicel are the winner's circle for the second year running, this time walking away with the award for Jamaica's fastest mobile network, best mobile coverage and fastest home fiber internet. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, Digicel.
Didn't catch that? It's just the truth. Digicel is the fastest LTE and home fiber internet in Jamaica, giving coverage and speeds you can rely on over and over again. Digicel, better together.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. And in this, the second half of the second watch, we are evaluating reports that more Jamaican fathers are now listed on birth certificates. And we have online Deacon Ronnie Thwaites, attorney at law, former member of parliament, and former minister of education. We also have Mr. Charlton McFarlane, CEO of the RGD. Welcome again, gentlemen. Mr. McFarlane, before the break, you were telling us about the retroactive addition.
Yes, and what we're saying, I was explaining the reasons behind it.
Right.
One, and perhaps the most compelling one, was the matter of filing for children to go and live with their parents overseas. And when the fathers are doing that filing, it is required by most embassies overseas that documentary evidence is provided to show the paternal relationship. The second factor that we see is also the matter of estate settlement, right? Where fathers, may not necessarily want their children left out if and when they transition to the afterlife. Right, they want their children provided for with whatever means they may be able to leave behind. And what we are also seeing, and what I believe, I don't have the evidence for this because this is a soft factor, as I would call it, but having a father, on your birth certificate, it completes your identity, right? And I believe that is also an increasing pull factor with our people are coming forward to just have the completion of their child's identity, right? And I believe that is also a reason, and we must commend our people for that.
What if, before I throw a question again to Deacon Thwaites, Mr. McFarlane, what if two men turn up to say that they are the father? What happens in that case?
Well, as I said, the process of adding the father is, and very importantly, in fact, no father's name based on how we operate now, can be added to the birth certificate without the mother's acknowledgement, written acknowledgement that she
So
believes.
if she says she's not sure, that's where
If
I'm going
she,
with the question. Yes, she's not
well,
really sure.
if she says she's not sure, then naturally she would not be able to just put in writing who she believes the father is. At that point, our advice would be to go and do the necessary DNA test to, provide without any question who the father is. Because the RGD would not be able to move forward if the mother is unwilling to put in writing who she believes to be the true
So
father.
she has to actually sign to that.
Absolutely.
Interesting. I don't know if Deacon Trace want to say anything on that, but over the years, Deacon, as I said earlier, you have been, on record, being strident in this regard for the father's names to become mandatory. Can you tell us why this has taken so long to become a reality in Jamaica?
Well, it isn't a reality yet, but because my fellow legislators didn't think it was important enough, and because the society as a whole does not prize fatherhood in the way that God intended, and that healthy society and healthy human growth requires it. I'm sure Mr. McFarlane will join me in remembering his predecessor, Dr. Patricia Holness. She's the one who instituted the Bedside Registration, and when she was Registrar General, and I really think that was an inspired move, which has made a big change. My own view is somewhat different from the policy at present. My view is that if the mother says that Ronnie is the father, write down my name, but give me the opportunity to contest it if I deny it. And science now provides a fairly reasonable cost, the DNA, which can determine this. But I'm not waiting on. I don't think that a child's rights are secured by waiting on a father, a man, to agree that he is my father, if in fact my mother so nominates me. Look at our crime situation, our underachievement in education. All of these have to do with fatherhood, we say we're a country governed by rights. The right to life is obviously primary. But what else could come next than the right of a person to recognize his two natural parents? Please.
Yeah. But there's been the call, though, Deacon Trace, as you know, as Mr. McFarlane knows, recent times for mandatory DNA paternity testing at birth. What are your views on that? Beginning with you, Deacon Trace.
If that's what it comes down to, then of course, let's do that, because the objective we want is to determine natural parenthood, and for all the reasons Mr. McFarlane has given, and particularly the last one, that a person's identity is relates to their antecedents, and what more intimate antecedents than the two people who gave you being with the Almighty. So if it comes to that, then yes. But hello, when are we going to get a sense of responsibility going in our society? That if two people come together and have unprotected sex, they're making a commitment for life to raise that child, and anything less than that is a contribution to disorder, to mayhem, and to utter distress, human destruction.
So
are we saying to our boys and girls who are being initiated to sex at age 15 and 16, fully telling Mr. McFarlane, almost 20% of our live births to people, to women under the age of 20, by definition, unequipped to be parents? Are we teaching them in a compassionate but very resolute way that, hey, this thing is not accidental. This is where you make a choice.
Yeah, but to be clear,
those of us in law need to really think again.
Yeah, to be clear, Deacon Trace, just want to make sure: are you for it, mandatory DNA paternity testing at birth? Just want to be clear.
If I'm in favor of it?
Yes, just want to be clear. Yes.
If there is no admission If there is no acknowledgement, rather, yes, I'm in favor of it.
No, but this is saying regardless of admission or not. It is just saying
there was no need
becomes
to
law.
have
It becomes law for everybody.
DNA test.
Oh, okay.
She knew and I knew that I'm the father of her children.
All right.
What kind of concession to irresponsibility are we going to continue to make in this society on something as primary as this one?
Mr. McFarlane, your take on that? And this is talking, and we're not talking on behalf of RGD.
Well, I'm here in the capacity as the CEO of RGD.
Okay. So, if you want to remain with that, you go ahead.
Well, what I'll say is I believe that those decisions, is really the remit of the policymakers, right? What the RGD will do and will continue to do is ensure that we are in a position to facilitate and to operationalize the instructions that are granted to us. Just to touch on a point though made by Deacon Thwaites earlier about the once the mother says this man is the father, right? I'm not necessarily disagreeing or agreeing, but what I'm saying is we also have a duty to ensure our records are as accurate as possible. And when you have two persons coming forward claiming a single truth, it's perhaps a bit more credible than one person claiming that truth. And hence, that is why at this point, operationally, we request that both the mother and the father, right, or both the man and the woman acknowledges together that yes, they are the father of the child. And then we proceed to add the father's particulars to the birth certificate. So I just wanted to say that was the reason.
All right, Deacon Thwaites, you okay with that?
No, in the circumstances, I understand that, and that by all means. But what I'm trying to encourage us is to call for a higher order. The most precious thing that anyone can do in life is to father or mother a child. Yes, and therefore, when are we going to so prize our humanity that we're going to say, hey, if that is me, or if it could possibly have been me, yes, then I'm going to acknowledge it, because the greatest good is that child grows up with a caring parent, male parent, and is supported in the formative, indeed all the years of their life. I'm still beholden to my father 50 years after his death. Can you imagine what incapacity we bespeak on our children? What social debility we impose when we are complacent with albeit with an improvement from 50% to 75% of live births being registered with the father's name. We're trifling with the essentials of life, man.
Yeah. Well, what I can say though,
radical, Reverend Toussaint, love station must stop being so nice. You have to know about these things.
That's why we're having these programs, Mr. Thwaites. That's why we have people like you and Mr. McFarlane on, so we can discuss the issues and people become more informed on it to make informed decisions going forward. So thank you very much for having joined us. And I want to leave on a positive note of really thanking, really bigging up RGD and Deacon Thwaites for his advocacy over the years. Please keep up the good work. And I noticed that, Mr. McFarlane, you have on your KC t-shirt.
Yes, still celebrating.
It's all right. I don't have on my JC. I don't have on my JC t-shirt.
No, I showed you at this point.
Deacon Thwaites, you are St. George's, that's all?
For George and for light blue.
There we go.
Calabar is in studio.
Indeed. Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, thank you for having me as well. It was good to be here.
Have a productive day.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, listeners, for joining us this morning. Join us again tomorrow for our discussion. For information, to get copies of this program, Call our production department at 876-968-959627. This has been the Morning Watch. Thanks to our producer, Miss Kathy Gale, and our guests. I'm Dylan Toussaint, reminding you to be purposeful, faithful, thankful, and watchful as I hand you back to Love in the Morning with Roshane Douglas.
Thank you, Dr. Toussaint. Have a great day
Thank
now.
You too, my brother.
All right, it's now 8 o'clock right here on Love 101 FM, the family station. It's now